When I was a little kid, I once failed a math test. When the news reached home, Mom collected all shoes of the houses, small and big, sandals and boots of all colors and shapes, tied them around a rope, and made a necklace of shoes. Then she made me wear it in front of all my siblings and relatives. Some were laughing, some were saying strange things. Mom was very angry on that day. But when I looked at her, she had tears rolling down her face. Those were tears of shame. After that day, I never ever failed a test, not even in school, never in my life again. Mom used to call me मेरे ख्वाबों की ताबीर. So when I would ask her often कि ख्वाबों की ताबीर क्या, कौन से ख्वाबों की ताबीर? So she would always say, जिंदगी में बेटा कुछ बन जाओ, become something in life. So she sold her gold bangles. My brother sold his motorbike to pay for my tuition fee. Dad repaired old tires at his shop in Layya. He was the only breadwinner of a family of 10. He would get blisters on his hands, regrooving old tires. All the shop savings went for my education. So there was a lot of pressure on me to study. But as a kid, I loved rolling a motorcycle tire in the streets of Layya. I would run barefoot for hours and hours, as it gave me a sense of freedom, sense of adventure. But then growing up, I became interested in cycling. And I used to go on bicycle tours to neighboring cities in Layya. So once I came back from a 2-day tour traveling 400 kilometers to Lahore, I was at home. I saw my brother walking like this. And suddenly, and I was looking at him, at his expression, and I saw that suddenly he pulls out a stick and starts beating me right on my knees. जिन टांगों से तुम साइकिल चलाते हो, आज मैंने वो टांगे तोड़ देनी. तुम्हें हम पैसा दे रहे हैं, तुम्हारे ऊपर इतना पैसा खर्च करने हैं पढ़ने के लिए, और तुम साइकिलिस्ट बन रहे हो. नहीं बनाना तुम्हें साइकिलिस्ट, पढ़ो. So after that, I had to focus on my studies. I did an MSc degree in computer science from Multan and became a lecturer. But one day, I quit my job and went on a bicycle tour. But before that, I borrowed a bicycle from a student because I did not have my own bicycle. I was not allowed to have my own bicycle. So I borrowed a bicycle from a student and went to Lahore on a bicycle. And my family never knew about this tour. So in 2002, I got admission to a university in Germany. The plane took off from Islamabad. I was sitting in the plane for the very first time. And the plane was flying somewhere above Turkey. When looking through the window, I was mesmerized by the landscape below. So before the plane had even landed in Frankfurt, I had made a secret promise to myself that one day I'm gonna cycle from Germany to Pakistan. In Germany, I did an MSc degree, started a PhD degree then, but soon I became interested in photography and wanted to become a documentary photographer. But then I remembered my elder brother. So I was afraid of losing a career and afraid of getting beaten by him. So I let go of this idea and sold my camera to be able to focus on my studies. After 4 years of hard work, I became a PhD doctor and got a well-paid job in software development. So finally I had become something. The dreams of my family had come true, but something was not right. I just couldn't shake out that dream of cycling to Pakistan. So I spoke to my family. Mother said, दूसरों के बेटे कोशिश करते हैं जल्द से जल्द घर पहुंचे और तुम साइकिल पर आ रहे हो. My elder brother, यार मैंने तुम्हारी उस दिन टांगें तोड़ ही दी होती. तुम्हें जर्मनी भेजा था तुम जाकर कुछ अमीर बनो, और तुम वही गरीबों की सवारी के बारे में सोच रहे हो। यार तुम वहां से कुछ चार्टर्ड प्लेन लेकर आओ, कुछ मर्सिडीज पर आओ, बीएमडब्ल्यू पर आओ। या फिर कहता है कि यार वो शाहरुख खान जिस तरह कभी खुशी कभी गम में हेलीकॉप्टर पर नहीं लैंड करता, तुम उस तरह से आओ। It was difficult to convince them, but eventually I sold, I quit my job, gave away most of my belongings, including a car and apartment. This is my picture on last day of my at work. And then I bought a bicycle, packed everything, and hit the road. It took me 13 years to realize the dream of cycling to Pakistan. And in Pakistan, instead of going directly to my home in Layya, I went straight to graveyard. Mom was no more. It was her wish to sit behind me on a bicycle and go on tour with me. A wish she made in her last days, a wish I couldn't fulfill. So after that, I left on another bicycle adventure from the southernmost city in the world in Argentina all the way to Alaska, a trip that took me almost 4 years. But within first couple of months, I was broke. At times, I did not even have money to buy a meal, and I had to pick up food from trash. And I did all sorts of jobs one can imagine. I wrote articles, I sold pictures, I worked at a print shop designing logos, websites. I mowed people's lawn to get a free spot to camp. And other jobs were like I served tables at restaurants for free food and accommodation, and did labor jobs at hostels. And I slept in all possible places one can imagine: mosques, churches, bus stops, abandoned houses, railway bogies, and even a pit toilet. So you may be wondering, what is the point of going through all these hardships on a bicycle? It is because cycling is an intimate way to explore the world, to feel the wind, to feel the earth, and to have that experience of life. But it wasn't like that in the beginning. In the beginning, I was in a rush, covering huge distances every day. It was as if I was in a competition with someone. But in Iran, I met a bearded French guy with the name Thierry, who was coming from France. We stayed in the same hostel. So Thierry asked me, Kamran, about my journey. Kamran, how much distance do you do in a day? I told him sometime 150 kilometers, other times 200 kilometers. So he started shaking his head in disbelief, saying, too much, too much. And then I knew that he was coming from France. So I asked him, how much distance you travel and how long did it take you from France? So he said, 3 years. And almost the same distance it had taken me on a bicycle, 3 months. So I asked him, you are not walking, are you? And he said, yes, I'm walking, in a plain French accent. So this guy, I was cycling slow, and he was walking. And then I asked him, how much distance do you do in a day? And he said, sometimes 10 kilometers, sometimes 20 kilometers, unlike you, who has blinders on his both sides. And then he said something to me that I'll always remember. He said, Kamran, slow down. You are going too fast. So his words kept me awake. The next day, game plan changed. And as the time went by, the wisdom of his words unfolded one beautiful moment after another. So if you were to ask me, what is the gain of slowing down? I would say it is because you get to experience not only the beauty of nature, but also the beauty of human kindness. Throughout my travels, people hosted me, they fed me, sometimes they gave me new clothes, gave me new shoes, sometimes even gave me cash. In Peru, I stayed a couple of nights with a community, indigenous community called Los Israelis. They had very little to eat, but they gave animal sacrifices, and they gave me a bowl full of meat when they had rice for themselves. Before leaving, I was thinking that maybe I should donate some money to these people. They have very little financial resources, but I was low on cash, so I didn't. And then before I was leaving, someone shook hands with me, and then I felt something in my hand. And when I opened it, I saw there was a 10 soles note in my hand. So I asked him, "What is this for?" He said, "This is a little gift from me. You are a traveler. You should go and get something to eat." And then in the United States, when I was there was so much talk about building a wall on the southern border, so much talk about immigrants, but someone invited me to stay at his place. And when I went there was a Pakistani flag outside. So you can imagine in 50,000 kilometers how many acts of kindness came my way that made this journey possible. There are hundreds of stories, but there's one particular story from someone who had probably nothing to give. I would call this guy Chotu, the little one. In Tajikistan, above 4,000 elevation, I was riding a bicycle and it was such a steep and sandy road that I could pedal no more. So I had to push the bicycle really hard. And I saw a little boy running towards me. So immediately gestured to me, "Hey, no, don't come here, stop." The boy stopped right there. I was thinking maybe the guy would come from such place and then he would ask for money, he would ask for chocolate, would ask for pencil, and I had nothing to give to him. And then I continued pushing the bicycle again on the uphill. The bicycle felt a bit lighter, so I kept going. After a while, I glanced back, and what do I see? I see a little boy, Chotu, pushing the bicycle from behind. So I stop him again. Chotu stops there. I continue again, kept pushing, go really far. And then the moment I glance back, I see the little Chotu pushing the bicycle again. He was looking at me with such beautiful smile, without saying any word. His cheeks were rosy, his eyes were bright and shiny, and if you notice, he was wearing plastic sandals and one of his toes is sticking out of sock. So eventually I had to beg Chotu to leave. Only then did he run back to his house. But before leaving, that little Chotu had taught me an important lesson of human kindness. In 2020, I had to quit my travels because of the COVID, and I landed in Karachi in the middle of pandemic. So in Karachi, I volunteered for Akhuat Foundation and did a series of stories on daily wage workers and how their lives had been impacted by COVID-19 lockdown. These stories raised about 1.4 million US dollars. Then in Laya, I did a story on a little boy called Ali Asghar who is suffering from hemophilia A disease. And his story raised about enough funds to support for 5 to 6 years of treatment. Then I cycled to Shimshal and did stories on mountaineers, high altitude porters, families of deceased porters, as well as community workers. These stories raised about 20,000 US dollars to support their dreams and livelihoods. Then this led me to becoming a part of first Pakistani expedition to Mount Annapurna as a photographer and filmmaker. I spent a couple of weeks at the base camp doing stories, documenting stories to highlight our climbers as well as promote mountaineering in Pakistan. The point of telling you all this is that sometimes you don't know where life will take you. I spent about 37 years of my life establishing a career only to abandon it, and then this led to so many opportunities. I got to do cycling, photography, traveling, all things that I have wanted to do in my life. Now, back to cycling. You must be thinking, what happened at the end of the road when I reached Alaska? So after 4 years of cycling, 33,000 kilometers of paddling, the dead tired cyclist ended up in Dead Horse. Then I went to the Arctic Ocean and rolled the front wheel of my bicycle at the ocean. Like I used to in the dusty streets of Laya when I was a little kid. But standing there by the Arctic Ocean, listening to the waves, I did ask myself, did I become something? I had no answer to that. but I could recall all those experiences, some beautiful smiles, some acts of kindness, some cold days, some warm days, and then all the people I had met who had taught me so many things, including my mentor who brought me to activism. But to this day, I still wonder why mom made me wear that necklace of shoes. It had such an impact on me. It was such an embarrassment. I never wanted to wear that necklace again. But now I believe mom wanted to teach me a lesson. She wanted me to give my best. अगर वो ना होता तो मैं आज साइकिलिंग करने की बजाय दुकान के ऊपर पंचर लगा रहा होता, लोग सफर पर जा रहे होते, मैं उनको देख रहा होता और उसी दुकान पर काम कर रहा होता जिस पर मेरा बाप काम करता था और जिस पर मेरा बड़ा भाई अभी तक काम करता है. लेकिन आई स्टिल हेयर पीपल सेइंग, यार देखो पीएचडी करके माँ बाप की इतनी सेक्रीफाइसेस हैं, साइकिल चला रहा है, कोई ढंग का काम नहीं करता. सो दिस इज द नेकलेस ऑफ शूज that the society makes you wear. It ties your dreams with the rope of shame, fear, and guilt. So what we do? We give in to conform the society. The fear of rejection keeps us from becoming who we are and from discovering our true potential. But look at it again. This is not a necklace of shame. This is a garland of opportunities and garland of dreams. And if you untie it, then there is the shoe of cycling, actually the one that I'm wearing in this picture. Shoe of traveling, shoe of photography, and each of these shoes takes you on a different journey to the places you have never imagined before. Now ask yourself, are you also wearing such a necklace? If you keep wearing your dreams around your neck, they'll weigh you down. So untie the rope, pick any shoe you like, go on a journey, explore, be curious, be good at something, and make a valuable contribution to the world. There is no shame in pursuing your dreams. Convert your fears and embarrassments into your strengths. Don't fit in. Otherwise, the society will impose its own criteria of success on you. And no matter what shoe you wear, and no matter where you end up going, remember the story of little Chotu with plastic sandals? It is a lesson for all of us. We can always do something for someone, no matter how small, how weak, how young we are. Thank you.